Hi YouTube, this is Eric, and in this video I want to share with you why Alex Trebek is such an inspiration to me and such a fighter. And he is a great example and role model for anybody who is battling through anything one day at a time. If you haven't clicked the like and subscribe button, click the like and subscribe button. Love to have you along for the journey. Hi YouTube, this is Eric. I want to talk about Alex Trebek. A lot of people know Alex Trebek. Why? Because of Jeopardy. And let's face it, for eternity there will be Jeopardy memes. And what is whatever, Alex? In fact, I know tons of pointless trivia, and I've always laughed at, you know what, if I ever get on Jeopardy, that is the one place the pointless trivia will definitely help me. But in this video, I wanted to share about Alex Trebek. And if you don't know, which I'm sure you probably do, Alex Trebek was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. Cancer alone is a battle, and it's not necessarily is it a mental illness, but it's one hell of a battle for life. He opened up recently, though, about breaking down and crying and how the sadness has come in and how depression has set in. And it's something that we don't really acknowledge a lot, especially when it comes to males, because we're supposed to be the strong figures, and there's that stigma around that men are supposed to be strong, and believe me, we're all strong, men, women, whoever. His take on what he's going through, though, is extremely powerful because he's not giving up. And let's face it, a lot of times, we don't acknowledge our depression or our sadness. That's the one part that really inspired me with Alex Trebek. I've been going through a lot of depression here recently myself, just with a different job and trying to still get settled in with it, that I don't always acknowledge my depression, and I don't always acknowledge my sadness, and I don't always remember that it is okay to cry. Alex Trebek opening up about this has really inspired me and really has just touched a big place in my heart because, one, this is a guy that could just stop everything, walk away from it all, wouldn't even know what's going on. But let's face it, he's not. One, I give him props. He's staying in the limelight, I should say, or in the camera's face about what's going on. And one, it brings tons of awareness to cancer because cancer is one of the biggest killers in the U.S. It's one of those that needs a lot of attention, needs a lot of support. And he also is opening up about his depression that is setting in with this. A lot of times there's stuff outside of our control that brings in depression. And we don't always acknowledge it, and he's acknowledged it, and he said that he feels weak, and you know what, Alex Trebek, you are not weak. In fact, you're one hell of a fucking fighter. You've inspired me, and you've reminded me that it's okay to be not okay, and that no matter what the battle is that we're going through in life, that we have to acknowledge it, and that it is okay to cry. It is okay to have those breakdown moments, but we can continue to fight, and that's the power of the human spirit. That's the part that inspires me about other human beings out there, especially when it comes even to Alex Trebek, because this is somebody, let's face it, I mean, I grew up with Alex Trebek and Jeopardy. When I was at my grandparents' house, what did we watch? Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy. Those were the two shows. A little bit of Murder, She Wrote, maybe, if it was that night. But when it comes to what this individual is going through, one, just to be diagnosed with cancer is a life-changing, life-altering event. I don't know. I've never been diagnosed with cancer. I have been a recovering addict and still am a recovering addict, so I know about life-changing alters when it comes to just anything that is a massive change in our life. And it's not always a wonderful change. Even when it came to addiction, getting sober, my God, I faced a ton of different challenges all of a sudden in life. I faced a lot of emotional challenges, a lot of emotional strain. Even though I was doing something to better my life, it still was very, very taxing on my mentality, my anxiety, my depression. What Alex Trebek's going through, I don't know personally, but I can tell you this, holy shit, man, you're one hell of a fighter, and I cannot stop talking about that because you've also acknowledged the depression. You're open about the depression, which a lot of people are not open about the depression. When I get depressed, I'm not very open about it. In fact, I don't even know how to communicate it to my wife sometimes. I don't know how to communicate it to my family that, hey, I'm depressed. You're somebody that's opened up to the entire nation and said, I've broken down, I've cried, I'm having a hard time with this. And you know what? It's amazing that the support that comes out, because unintentionally, most likely, you didn't realize that there'd be this outpouring source of support from just different individuals that you don't even know. But you've impacted their life in one way or another, and you've impacted mine. You've impacted mine in the way of saying that, you know what? It's okay to cry. It's okay to break down. The challenges of life sometimes are out of our control. We can't control what happens in a lot of different situations, but what we can control is how we react to them. And the strength that you've shown in what the battle is that you're going through is definitely inspiring. Depression is something that nobody can see. Just like cancer, you can't see it in your head, but it's there. That weight is there. The sadness is there, and it comes, at least with me, in waves. And again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a counselor. I'm none of that. I throw my phone number out there every day because I know the power of support. And to see the power of support that reaches out to Alex Trebek is inspiring because it's humans caring for one another. It's people helping people, just saying, hey, we're here, we're in your corner. And that is the amazing part of life, is that the ability for us to genuinely care about another human being is amazing. I give him all the credit in the world for being so open about this, for being such a fighter through this battle when it comes to anything that of a health defect or a health issue that ends up coming up, because you know what, that is so much out of our control in some ways. We have the choice to either back down and give up or to fight on. And Alex Trebek, you're one hell of a fighter. You've wanted to push through doing your show continually while you're even going through chemotherapy, which chemotherapy, for most that don't know, is very taxing to your system. You lose your hair. A lot comes into play. Depression is set in. I know that you might not have meant it, but you've made a huge difference to many people who are fighting cancer. Just to acknowledge the fact that, hey, the depression's gonna hit is huge. That the sadness is gonna hit is huge, because it lets others who are fighting that battle know that they're not alone. And that's the whole thing that is so amazing to me, is that the more that we share, one, it gets it off our chest, but it lets anybody else who's going through it that doesn't know how to express it be able to find an outlet, find a way to express it, to feel not alone. Because one of the biggest things I've learned in life, just from my own experiences, is there's no worse feeling than feeling that you're alone, feeling that you're a burden, feeling that sadness that you don't know how to express and that you don't think anyone else can relate to. When you're sharing that story and you're sharing how the chemotherapy is taking a mental toll on just your mental health, is huge, because you know what? It's something that you don't hear a whole lot about, but I know that so many people go through it. I know multiple cancer survivors and multiple people that unfortunately lost their life to cancer. I've had a lot of family members who have lost their life to cancer. It's a horrible, horrible road, but you know what? It doesn't have to be a lonely one, and it's one that you can beat, and it's one that you can fight through, and it's one that you can find support in. No matter what it is that you're going through in life, find support. Share your story, because your story, one, it doesn't just fix everything when we share our story, but what it does do is an amazing gift, and that's making sure others don't feel alone. Alex Trebek, the more and more that you've shared about this, the more and more that I've been inspired, the more and more that I've been able to even acknowledge my own depression. And I'm not going through a battle like you are. I'm going through my own personal battles. But you know what? It's okay. And it reminds me that it's okay. I can look at you and say, dude, you're an inspiration. You're reminding me that it's all right to keep fighting, and that I can keep fighting, and that it's worth that fight. That I can share about my depression. I can be open about trying. I can be open about the good times and the bad times. That I can be open about everything that's going on in life, and that, you know what, it's part of my story, and who knows who else it's going to help. The more that we keep sharing this, the more powerful it gets. So no matter what the battle is that you're going through in life, no matter what the mental illness is that you've been diagnosed with, there's so many different stories out there, and each one of them is so inspiring. Find those stories. If you're challenged and you're battling through something and you feel alone, find the support out there. And it's amazing that the support will usually come in ways that you don't expect. I mean, Alex Trebek is the Jeopardy host. I never thought I would find inspiration from Alex Trebek. I never thought I'd find inspiration from Jeopardy other than making jokes. But I did. This man is a true individual who's a true fighter, who's being very open about his battle. Be open about your depression battle. You're not a burden. You're not invisible. People do see you. Be open about those trials and tribulations in life that you're going through, because the more that you are open to it, believe me, we're afraid that we're going to face ridicule. We're afraid that we're going to face stigma. The stigma we create is when we don't talk, when we don't share, and others start to feel alone, is what I truly believe creates a stigma around something. When it comes to mental health and mental illness, for men to talk about depression, you don't see it a whole lot. So what? It creates a unvoiced stigma that as men, we shouldn't share about mental health and mental illness, and we shouldn't share about depression. If you look up depression and anxiety, even here on YouTube, you're going to find a lot more women will share than what men do. That's not right, I don't think, because let's face it, guys, we go through a lot of depression also, but we need to be able to share about it. We need to be able to talk about it, because it helps somebody out there who's suffering silently. Suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the United States. It's one of the leading causes of death in men 25 to 35. Because let's face it, you know what, men, we don't talk about it. Alex Trebek, you are a man talking about depression. You're a man talking about sadness. You're a man talking about crying. You're a man bringing inspiration to other men out there, especially myself, knowing that it's okay to acknowledge the sadness that we're going through. It's okay to acknowledge the depression that we're going through. And it's okay to keep fighting. I give you all the support in the world. My prayers go out to you and your family for the battle that you're going through, and also the awareness that you're bringing. Because I know that it's hard. I know that when things are out of our control, it's difficult. And we have to sometimes remember that we can only control the controllable and change the changeable. And the one thing that we can control is that we can control our head, the reactions that we make, and the words that we use. We can't control some of the other factors around us, and we have to know that. When we give up trying to control things that are out of our control and just control ourselves, it's amazing. It's amazing what happens. It's amazing the burden that's lifted off your chest. It's amazing the joy that comes in, knowing that you can only control what you can control. And then controlling that. Sharing about your depression, sharing about your sadness, fighting through every single day. I get so inspired when I hear other people share stories like this that it lets you just know that you're not alone. Everybody loves a good warrior, and everybody loves a good battle. And you gain so much support along the way. So remember, if you're out there and you're struggling, share your story, talk about it, be open about it, accept and acknowledge depression if it does set in, because it is a real fact of life. It is something that so many people are diagnosed with. I mean, I did a video on MDD, which is something I've been diagnosed with multiple times because it does come in and out of my life, which is essentially clinical depression. That the more that we acknowledge it, the more that we talk about it, the more it helps us. We can catch the onset of it. We can catch the early warning signs of it, get the help and treatment that we need. And if we are going through it, realizing that sharing about it helps other people not feel so alone. Best thing about that is when we give it away, we get it back. When you give out that support, it comes back to you. That is the biggest joy about just talking about it. You're giving that support and you're getting that support back without even asking for it. Alex Trebek, thank you so much for bringing attention to this subject. Thank you so much for bringing the attention to cancer. Thank you so much for bringing the attention to depression and sadness in men. Because you know what? We as men need to realize that it's okay to speak up, that it's okay to talk. It's okay to talk about this subject. It's okay to be sad. Alex Trebek, again, nothing but props, nothing but support for you. And I can't thank you enough for sharing your battle with so many, because it does make a difference. You're making a difference more than what you could ever know. Again, I thank you with all my heart. I thank you for being an inspiration to me. I'll never probably ever get to meet you, but you're an inspiration to me. You've reminded me that it's okay to be not okay, and it's okay to fight. So thank you. If you guys haven't clicked the like and subscribe button, my whole channel is all about mental health, mental illness, suicide awareness, addiction. Click the like and subscribe button. Feel free to comment down below. I love the comments. I love the support. It's people helping people, just going through this in life together. Nobody should go through this alone. And remember, sharing your story has so much healing to it. So share your story. Be proud of your story. Be proud of your battle scars. Be proud of your fight, because you are a fighter. Do not forget that. So you know what? Until the next video, I'm with you. You got this. It's an us thing. It's a we thing. It's a together thing. We can do this together.